my brother here. He'll probably answer me while I'm in the middle of the show. Anybody who is watching, you guys can now go over to Roku and do a search for Alpha Geek Media, and the channel will actually come up now. They got it. Todd Whitehead got it covered up, or got it accepted into the Roku channel store, I guess they call it. And if you go to channel 1, you can watch this video live. How exciting is that? All right, we've got a lively chat room going here. Let's see, we've got Donald and Steve and Brett on the iOS 9 beta running the beta NosillaCast app, so that'll probably crash and burn. We've got Kevin the Wig Man. We got Chatty Bots back again. Dan Eckmeyer's in the house. Dave Gin Macstock. I wonder which Dave that is. And Johnny, I don't know. That looks like a new name, possibly. We've got Kim, and Dorothy is back from 2 months gone to Alaska. Sandy's here drinking a lovely margarita, and Switcher Mark bringing up the rear. Looks like Alistair isn't here today yet to bring up the bottom of the alphabet there. All right. Yeah, Beta Brett, we can call him. That's great. Oh, David Ginsburg from Macstock. Oh, I said it, Dave Gin. I love it. Dave, nice to see you again. I got my Macstock shirt on just for you. All right, let's go ahead and do a test recording here. Make sure everybody can hear me. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. And let's go ahead and play that back and make sure we don't screw up. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. All right, Steve can hear fine. All right, Steve, are you time to mute yourself and make yourself? It looks like you're muted already, but you gonna hide yourself, or do you need?
I had to unmute to tell you that I was muted, so I'm about to go on mute again. Don't ask me questions if you want me muted.
All right, go mute yourself. There you go. I used to be able to mute him, but he did something to change it so that I can't mute him anymore, and I don't think I like that.
I'm not going to tell you what I did.
Oh, I did not give you authority to unmute. Go away now. Goodbye. All right. Let's see. And let's see. The back channel is open. Hang on. I write secret notes in class to Steve. I got to write 2 things down here. Hang on a second. Sorry for the delay. Paper. It's the only way it works. Okay. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh, the OS 10 beta is not working. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Oh, Rose snuck in right under the wire, just barely. All right, here goes. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, July 12th, 2015, and this is show number 531. This week's Chit Chat Across the Pond isn't really across a pond. Dr. Mary Ann Gary joins us again, and she said, I have to call it Chit Chat Across the Gin and Tonics. Oh, well, that's the way she goes. Anyway, you'll also hear me say in the recording that we didn't have time to remind you to do your homework before the talk, but it turns out it was a time travel episode, so if you heard last week's show, you did hear me say it. I also tweeted it, Facebook, Google Plused it, and even LinkedIn about it, so I hope you remember to go watch the 2 videos before listening in. Well, I hope you're prepared because she's quite a taskmaster when you don't do your homework. Anyway, let's get started with the show. My new favorite NosillaCastaway is Klaus Wolf from Germany. He came up with 2 great ideas to make it super easy and even kind of fun to use Amazon affiliate links. They're nice and geeky too. This is somewhat self-serving, but it's the geek stuff that I think makes it worth talking about. Like any good NosillaCastaway, he started with a problem to be solved. He wrote, people don't use affiliate search boxes on websites because they're creatures of habit, and changing habits is hard and nearly impossible unless there's value to be gained by doing so. He's right. I hear from people all the time saying, oh man, I meant to use your affiliate link, but I had trouble remembering. Just in case someone doesn't know what we're talking about here, if you buy something on Amazon after using my Amazon affiliate link, a small percentage, I should say, goes to help the show, and it costs you nothing. I'm afraid my links only work in the US, so you might want to find a local podcaster to support if you're outside of the US. Klaus's two ideas to make it easy and natural to help out the show are a bookmarklet and a pop clip. I'll say this right. This could be hard to say. Pop clip extension. When Klaus first told me about these ideas, I didn't really get how they would work. So he made two videos, and I've linked to those in the show notes. They're great because they really show how much easier it is to use one of these solutions rather than trying to remember once you find something you want to look up to go over to podfeet.com and enter that search term in that little Amazon box. Once you've watched these videos, I think you'll be motivated to give one of these ideas a play. I figure most of you will never do this, but the tools he's teaching me are so cool, I wanted to share in the fun. So let's start with the geekier idea first, and that's the Pop Clip extension. Pop Clip is a menu bar app from Pilot Moon that lets you do all kinds of really fun things. At its most basic level, when you select text in OS X, a little window pops up above the text offering to copy the text, search the words on the internet, or look the word up in the dictionary. Pop Clips, boy, it's hard to say. Pop Clips behavior is contextual, so it'll change, say, to offer paste, look up in Finder, and more options depending on where you selected the text. The cool part about PopClip is that people can write extensions for it, and as of right now, there are 142 free extensions available on the Pilot Moon website. When I'm done explaining what Klaus taught me, you're not only going to have to do this. Wait, no, that didn't make any sense. Hang on, what did I say? All right. Got rid of the good part of the show, not the... Okay, stop being stupid. Select the right part. There you go. Did I miss anything? Mike is here. All right. Did I miss anything? All right. Oh, wait. Steve sent me a note. Okay. Back to the show. Let's see. Back here. Where did I cut myself off? Free extensions available on the Pilot Moon website. Okay. All right. I don't like that little. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Okay. Here we go. When I'm done explaining what Klaus taught me, you're not going to have to do this to use my Amazon affiliate link because I'm going to give you the PopClip extension, but I'm going to go through it so you can make your own extensions if you like. My main use of PopClip so far has been to use the paste equals extension. You know how if you copy some text from the web and say paste it into an email or a document, it ends up with all this dumb formatting of the website instead of your document? If you use the paste equals extension, which is actually copy and paste style, if you use that in PopClip, it executes the paste and match style, which means the pasted text takes on the format of your document. I love it. I started scanning the other 142 extensions that are available, and it's crazy what you can do with PopClip. I'm going to stumble on that word about 100 times, it looks like. Anyway, one of my new favorite extensions I found there is it takes the text you selected and displays it in large text on screen. I love that idea. I'm sure you know you can have OS X speak any text you select, but it's a couple of pull-down menus to do, so it's kind of clumsy. Someone created a Say extension for PopClip that does it instantly. There are extensions for all of your favorite notes and to-do list applications, instantly creating a note after selecting the text. You can translate text using a bunch of different translations engines. You can grab some text and instantly start a tweet using your favorite client. I can't wait to try out more of these PopClip extensions. But wait, I've gotten distracted from my cause. Here's where Klaus got really clever. He found a link to a free tool written by Brett Terpstra called PopMaker. With the free PopMaker, you can easily create your own PopClip extensions. It's like a 2-minute process, like if you round up to use PopMaker to make a PopClip extension. Boy, this is hard to pronounce. Anyway, you enter your name as the author, name the extension, give the extension a title that'll be shown in the menu bar app, and optionally, you can add an icon that'll show when text is selected in the little pop-up window. Choose the extension type, which in our example will be a search extension. Okay, that's the easy part. But the tricky bit for me was to enter the search URL. This is where I need to enter the Amazon search URL that tells Amazon that you came from my site. I have no idea how he figured this part out, but luckily he told me what my Amazon search URL is. I always use the tools on Amazon to create individual URLs for products I review, so I never actually knew what the search URL was. For grins and giggles, and if you want to make your own extension instead of using the one I'll give you, you'll have the URL. It's a long, gloppy pile, a long string, if you will. And in the middle of it, it says http podfeecom-20. That is the one thing I did know was the link, which identified it as coming from podfeed.com. I don't know why they dropped the T and made it podfeed.com. I don't know. It's probably something silly I did when I first signed up. Anyway, at the end of this URL that he discovered, it says keywords equal brackets query. And the query is where PopClip is going to fill in the blank. As promised, I put a link in the show notes to the NosillaCast Amazon PopClip extension, and I had to compress it as a zip file because these extensions are actually a collection of a couple of files. All you need to do if you want to use this is download the file, double-click to unzip it, and then double-click it again to install it into PopClip. Well, I guess before that, you probably need to go over to pilotmoon.com and download the free trial of PopClip and then double-click to install the NosillaCast Amazon extension. After that, let's say you see, I don't know, the Microsoft band on a website. Select the text and then hit the extension, and it'll automatically open Amazon to a web page where you can buy it. Now, don't feel pressured to do this. If you're already a PopClip maniac, you'll have already skipped ahead and installed the extension. But if you're thinking, gee, Allison, I really do love the show, but do you really think I'm going to install a $4 menu bar app just to help the show? Well, then I want you to check out Klaus's next idea. This one isn't going to cost you a dime. Seriously, though, you really would enjoy playing with PopClip, so at least play with a free trial, and if you get hooked on it, you can buy it for $4 in the Mac App Store. And of course, there's links in the show notes to it. All right, let's go on to the bookmarklet. This next one was geeky for him to create, but is trivially easy for you guys to use. He wrote some JavaScript to create a bookmarklet just for you. Once you have the bookmarklet, you simply select some text on the web for what you want to buy and click the bookmarklet in your menu bar of your browser. Boom, you're in Amazon using my affiliate link. This is so amazing. I love it. To get the bookmarklet, you need to navigate to a link in the show notes at Klaus's site, otsburg.net, and there's some more other stuff after that. Of course, link in the show notes. All you'll see on the page is, actually, he changed it. Rid of that. You'll see a link on the page that is that says NosillaCast Amazon. He's got a bunch of other instructions around it too, so you don't have to go here to find it, to go back and forth and try to figure out how to use it. Anyway, so at the very top, there's this link. All you do is drag that link up to your browser's menu bar and you're done. Of course, if you want to see what a script does first, you can view source to verify it for yourself. At Klaus's suggestion, I had Bart take a gander at it and he deemed it benign. So there's your seal of approval. Klaus did also want to make sure I mentioned that some people don't have their menu bar showing, so make sure you trigger that first. Okay, ready to do it? Go to Klaus's site at the link in the show notes and make your bookmarklet. I know I made a long story out of this, but I really enjoyed the cool, geeky stuff Klaus taught me. And if you go over to the show notes, you can watch his 2 little videos and you'll learn all you need to know about how to either use PopClip or the bookmarklet to help the show. If you want to follow Klaus on Twitter, you can find him at MacTopics and find his German website at mactopics.de. Whew. All right. Let me give you guys the link here so you guys can see this. Copy link. Okay. Oh, did Ghibli's come in? Yay! Ghibli's is here. Hi, sweetie. Ghibli's is my daughter, for anybody who doesn't know. So if you go to that link, go to the link I just dropped in there, you guys, in the chat room, and just drag it into your menu bar app, then into your menu bar, and then of your browser, and then select any text and hit that link, and it'll open the search window in Amazon. It's really cool. Uh-oh, Castaway 824 looks like it's Nuris, but the /Nick thing isn't working. Huh, why didn't that work for her? That's interesting. All right. All right, good. Save, I should save. Oh, the nickname might not let her have both. Okay. Okie dokie. Did you guys, in the chat room, did you guys watch your, did you guys do your homework? Okay, thanks for the note, Steve. Nope. Wingman didn't do his homework. I'm shocked. Don't cheat off of Steve's paper. All right. Here we go. Oh, good job, Brett. Actually, Linda, Linda would really like this. I think you're really going to get a kick out of this stuff. You buy too much at Amazon? There's never too much if you use my Amazon affiliate link, in my opinion. Here we go. On last week's show, Bart mentioned one of the tools he'd shown us in Taming the Terminal Part 34 of N, the way you can use Firefox's developer tools to time how long different things take to load on your website. I'd forgotten about that, and I thought it'd be fun to take a look at podfeet.com and see if I could figure out why it's so slow to load. Now, nobody else has ever complained to me, but it drives me bananas how slow it is. I assumed it was because of the hosting plan I was on, but I've signed up for a more fancy pants plan recently, so it didn't make sense to me why it takes so long to load. I launched Firefox and I went to the web developer menu and I chose the network option as Bart had suggested. As he explained, you get an ordered list of what loads, along with the domain under which it's loading, the type, say HTML versus CSS versus JavaScript, for example. It also shows you the size and then this cool timeline showing you how long the element took to load. Understandably, the first thing that loads is root, shown as a backslash. On podfeet.com, the root page took 5,300 milliseconds to load, otherwise known as 5.3 seconds. I thought it was bad, but I didn't realize it was that bad. I clicked on the root line and it exposed a panel that talked about the headers. It said the main page wasn't cached. I thought this was odd because I have a plugin for WordPress called WP Cache, and it's there just to save people time on my site. So it's supposed to be caching. And that means somebody has rendered it. Everybody doesn't have to render it if it hasn't changed. I went to look at the plugin, and while the plugin was enabled, the switch for caching was turned off. I turned it back on, and then I reloaded the page in Firefox, and the network diagnostics showed that the root page went from 5,300 milliseconds down to 837. Cutting the page load time down by a factor of 6. Now, I'm guessing you're going to be able to tell the difference on that. I was gleeful about this because personally, I have to go to Podfeet all the time and it annoys the heck out of me waiting for it to load. But I found a problem I'd created by turning on caching. My plugins page in WordPress was now giving me an error message for the plugin I used to create the mobile version of the site, and that plugin is called WP Touch. WP Touch was directing me to turn off caching on the server, or the mobile devices could start getting delivered the desktop version and vice versa. Well, that was kind of a bummer. I pinged Bart and we noodled around a bit and I did some research on my own. First, I found out that I could buy the pro version of WP Touch to get a specific feature on caching, but that sounded odd, like I shouldn't have to do that. I do like WP Touch because it's updated really often, and Bart says you want plugins in active development, so that's a good thing. I poked around some more on the WP Touch site in WordPress.org, and I found out that you can list user agent exclusions. Now, you might be asking me, what the heck does that mean? When you connect to the internet through a browser with any device, it uses a user agent to identify itself. This is how the site knows what to deliver to the device. I learned about this in the old days when we used to worry about it a lot because websites would use tools like ActiveX that only worked under Internet Explorer. So sometimes the site wouldn't even load. It wouldn't even let you in unless you used a tool in the browser to fake the site into letting it think that you were coming in with Internet Explorer. And they called those user agent switchers. Luckily, Microsoft is much more on the Sanders bandwagon now, so that's not as much of a big deal anymore. One other use of user agents today, though, is that if you go to a site with a mobile device, you will be delivered a mobile experience. In the caching plugin, I found a place where I could list rejected user agents. And from the WordPress.org documentation, they showed the list of that I should put into that field. It included simple and obvious words like iPhone, iPad, iPod, BlackBerry, and Android, but of course the more obscure terms that Microsoft prefers, including IE Mobile 7.0, 9.0, and 10.0. I saved all that list in the plugin. So remember, this is the ones that are rejected from getting the cached version. And so I saved those all in the plugin and the error message went away. But that introduced a new problem. I went over to Firefox and I ran the network test again, and now nothing was cached. I didn't bother Bart at this time, but I went back and I looked at the plugin's user agent exceptions I had pasted in there, and I discovered I'd sort of put an extra line feed at the end of the list. That meant every user agent was rejected, meaning anything that tried to connect to podfeet.com would have nothing cached. I was very proud of my little self for finding that out and figuring out why it didn't work without asking Bart. I reran the tests in Firefox, and I noticed that the root level page was showing a code of 200, which means I'm not seeing a cached version, but the other elements like images and JavaScript elements are showing a code of 304. This confused me, so I went back to Bart to get some clarification. I think I've got it now. The codes I'm seeing in Firefox are for the local browser, not the server side. The main root page is often updated on the server side whenever I do new post, page, add an image, etc. So you really don't want the client ever caching that page. That's the client you don't want caching the page. The page should always show a code of 200 on the client side, meaning you never want the browser to cache the page, or you wouldn't see my latest fascinating updates. However, once I've posted an image in an article or posted an entire article, chances are pretty good that it'll stay the same indefinitely or for a good length of time. The browser tells the server that it has cached copies of the images, for example, and when it cached those images. The server checks to see whether those images were cached within the time limit I've set on the server side. If it checks out, the server sends back 304 saying, "Yep, you're good to go with that cached image." It took me a lot of reading and rereading of what Bart told me before it sunk in, but I think I really understand it now. If you've been paying very close attention to or understood what was going on before I did, you'll have realized that the initial notification that I got from Firefox telling me my page wasn't cached was actually a red herring. Firefox can only tell what's cached locally, and we just finished saying that the root page isn't ever cached locally. I just got lucky when I discovered that I wasn't caching a darn thing. Armed with my newfound understanding of what Bart taught me weeks ago, I started looking at more of the elements on my pages to see how long they were taking to load. I noticed that a bunch of my images are larger than they need to be. For example, the little 320 pixel square image I posted last week on my Apple Watch was a 195 kilobyte PNG file. Now, that's not huge by any means, but it's way bigger than an image that size should be. It was taking 565 milliseconds, otherwise known as a half a second, to load. That's crazy talk. It shouldn't take that long. For most of my images, I changed the dimensions to something small using Preview first, usually no bigger than 600 pixels wide, but usually around 400 or less. I could upload the images to the site in full size and then using HTML tell it to deliver something smaller, but that would be a huge waste of everyone's time. You've seen that before, right? Where someone's header image takes 20 seconds to load because they used a giant image instead of scaling it back. So I was being smart about making the file dimensions small, but I was saving them as PNGs. I tried changing it to JPG to JPEG, which allows me to set the quality of the image as well. My images aren't going to be printed and aren't normally fine art, so moving that slider down to say the middle setting shouldn't degrade your viewing experience at all. When I did that on that little tiny watch image, it shrank from 195 kilobytes down to 15 kilobytes and dropped the load time from 565 milliseconds down to 147 milliseconds. All right, I know there's people out there thinking, who can't hang around an extra 408 milliseconds to read Allison's amazing content? But think about how many images I have in my posts. If there's a half dozen on a page, I'm wasting 2.5 seconds of your time times all of you. This day and age of instant gratification, that's a long time to wait. Finally, in the Firefox network utility, I took a look at the other elements like my Amazon affiliate link you all know and love, and the Flickr plugin I use in my right sidebar to show off my photography chops. And the good news is that they all load lickety-split, so I had no changes to be made there. I'm excited that I learned a bunch of great geeky stuff this week, and even more excited that you and I don't have to wait so long to see stuff load on podfeet.com. You'll see the speed gradually increasing as I'm not going back and uploading old images, but I'll be making them more efficient over time. Yes, Kevin, you're supposed to be paying attention to me. What are you guys doing? Everybody's goofing around. Let's see, anything fun going on? Seems she's writing checks that her website can't cash. What? Mike. Uh-oh. Is Lindsay making fun of me too? Lindsay. Is Steve multiplying? Yes, he's also, well, sometimes he's in the video twice, right? Okay. Oh. So I'm going to be talking about these headphones. They're from a company called Biena. And for the sightlings of the crowd here, there's the pretty little hard box they come in. Nice little compartment here. Whoops, that's upside down. No, yep, it is upside down. Nice little compartment to hold the extra pieces. I would like to show you, you'll hear me talk about it in the show notes, but I would like to show you the font size of the manual that came with these. Okay, can't see it, can you? Get it at an angle so it's not so bright. Anyway, you can't read it, but it doesn't matter. Even if it wasn't too bright, you wouldn't be able to read it. And they don't have a website, so forget the manual. Newest winglet on your side. Oh, that's good. And these are the headphones I'm going to be talking about. These are Bluetooth headphones, and I'm pretty taken with them. They're pretty cool headphones. They're from Vienna. Sorry. Yes, Vienna. Oh my gosh. I don't believe it. The title, I misspelled Vienna on the, actually, I'm going to fix that really quick, guys. That's not good. Hang on. With your nose, Steve. Let me see if I spelled it wrong. I'm pretty sure I spelled it wrong in the title. Yep. God, I got to fix it before the guy sees that the title is wrong. Hang on. Why are you not coming up? There we go. Oh, goody. I've already been in. Are the stereo or just one ear? No, those are stereo. Bluetooth headphones. What do you talk about, Lindsay? Okay, what is going on? Okay, WordPress Podfeet. Lindsay thinks she's getting Bluetooth headphones for her birthday. All right. I just want to make sure I fix this post because the guy is going to go in there and see it because I told him about it. It's B-I-E and I spelled B-E-I. Luckily, I spelled it right in the short link. All I have to do is update that. And since the page isn't cached yet, I don't know. Do I actually understand that? Okay. Quitting Safari. All right, here we go. I had the opportunity to test out a review unit of the Vienna Bluetooth 4.1 wireless sport headphones, sweat-proof exercise stereo earphones. Well, that's an awfully long name, so for brevity, I'm going to call them the Vienna headphones. You may recall that I've tested out several Bluetooth options, none of which worked very well for me when I was running. I didn't want to blame the headphones, though. The problem is that if my phone is in my spy belt, the little belt that I use to hold the phone tight up against my back or my belly, all Bluetooth headphones I tested would cut in and out. If I hold the phone in my hand, or if I use those same headphones with my iPad, say, resting on the stand of the elliptical machine at the gym, I have no problems with the sound cutting in and out. I call this a personal problem because Steve uses the Jabra Sport headphones I really wanted to love, and they work great for him. And he's using a spy belt to hold his phone too. I've resigned myself to using wired headphones. I should mention that if the Jabra Sport headphones intrigued you back when I reviewed them, the prices dropped from $100 down to $58 just recently. Now, why would I test yet another pair of Bluetooth headphones only to expect certain failure? Don't they say that the sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome? Well, on the Vienna Amazon webpage, they make a point of saying that they are Bluetooth 4.1, not Bluetooth 4.0, and they claim that this gives you skip-free music up to 10 meters away. Perhaps I'm not the only one who suffers with skipping sound over Bluetooth. Another attractive thing about the Vienna headphones is that they're only $24. Let's find out if they're the headphones for you. The Vienna headphones are in-ear, the kind that stick really deep in your ear canal. They come with small, medium, and large earplug covers, so if you can stand that creepy feeling in-ear headphones give you for the first minute or two, you're likely to have a size that fits you. They also come with 3 pairs of what they call ear hooks. These are supposed to give a little more stability to the headphones by gently holding onto one of your ear flanges. Oddly, all 3 pair of ear hooks that came with my headphones are the exact same size. I would have liked a bigger set because they just barely grab my ear flange, and I found myself adjusting them a little bit from time to time when I was running. The controls for the headphones are on the right headphone earpiece, which is on the larger size, the piece itself, but hopefully that means they have a bigger battery life as well. One improvement they could make would be to use some contrasting colors here. The band that goes around the back of your neck comes in black, red, lime green, or baby blue, and the controls on the headphones are that same contrasting color. I have to say I recommend one of the crazy colors because I have the black on black pair, which means the pairing on off button is black, the volume up down button is black, and the cover for the USB charging port is also black. It's a case of where the blind might find the controls more easily than the sighted because you can only find them by feel. I'm telling you, go for the lime green instead. I'm not a fan of reading manuals, so I simply held the one big button down until the headphone said something about pairing. I opened my phone's Bluetooth section and I tapped on QY7, the only thing I didn't recognize, and I was immediately paired with Vienna headphones. Now, I'm not an audiophile, as you well know, but in listening to the Mac Geek Gab with them, they sounded just fine to me. I don't think if you're looking at $24 headphones, you're expecting Bose quality sound, but I found them very pleasing. I took the Vienna headphones for a jog this morning, and I'm delighted to tell you that for 4 full miles, they did not cut out one single time. I specified the distance because for some reason, at exactly when I returned to the start of my run, they lost the Bluetooth connection of my phone or the phone lost them. I have no idea what caused that, but perhaps the communication between my Apple Watch and iPhone over Bluetooth caused a glitch in the pairing. I was able to repair them after a bit of the usual Bluetooth jiggery pokery. I also took them on a 3-mile walk with Tesla, and they didn't cut out one single time in that 3 miles, and they never lost their connection. So I'm just putting that down to one of those lovely Bluetooth glitches that happens. I also gave them a try as a microphone to make a phone call. I had Pat Dingler call me, and she said the sound was pretty muffled sounding. So I took the right earpiece out and held it up like a microphone in front of my mouth, and she said it got a lot clearer when I did that. Still not as good as the wired headphones that I used to use, but in a pinch, you can use these to make a phone call. I noticed that the Vienna headphones mentioned something about voice control when I was turning them on and off in the pairing process, so I thought it'd be good to check out the manual. The manual is on a 2x4-inch piece of paper, and the font is 1 millimeter tall. Now, my daughter Lindsay says I exaggerate a lot, so I had Steve check my measurement of the font to make sure I wasn't exaggerating. Just this time I was not. 1 millimeter. That's really, really small. I looked online to try to find a Vienna website to find out, say, maybe a manual more in a font I could read online. But they don't appear to have a website. Maybe they do, but I was unable to find it, and I searched for quite a while. In desperation, I finally took photos of each page of the manual with my iPhone and then blew them up full screen on my 27-inch monitor, and I was able to read it when it was that big. Like many manufacturers, they could benefit greatly from sourcing some native English speakers to review their documentation because it's a bit hard to follow. The little woman who talks to you in your head when you press the different buttons, she could use a little help with the English that she's using as well. It was a little hard to figure out what she was trying to say to me. I have to confess that it was in the manual that I even found out that there was an up-down volume control because I hadn't found it on the device. Remember that black on black part? I didn't find out anything interesting about voice control in the manual, but I learned how to jump to the next song and back to the previous song. It doesn't look like they have a way to fast forward within a track, which is essential if you're listening to podcasts and Leo does an Audible commercial. Am I right? Anyway, I'll keep fiddling with it to see if I can get it to work, but there's no documentation and no way to write to them because they don't seem to have a web presence. I do have a contact with their marketing guy, but I don't think that he would probably have that technical information. The Vienna headphones come in a really nice little red zippered hard case that holds the included USB charging cable and the extra earplugs and hooks in a separate compartment from the headphones themselves. It's a pretty nice touch for a $24 pair of headphones. I would definitely give the Vienna headphones a buy, especially for the price, because they're the first Bluetooth headphones that do not cut out on me. Check them out at the Amazon affiliate link in the show notes. Or heck, select the text on a website and try using your new Pop Clip extension or closest bookmarklet to find them. Linda, you said you're 5 foot 0 inches. You told me once when I asked you how tall you were, you said you weren't 5 foot yet. The best female castaways seem to be short. Oh, it's a height challenge love fest in here, apparently. Let's see. Rose is 5'1". Sandy's the giant at 5'2". Wait, who's going to be 6'8"? What? Doctors seem to. Who is that? John is going to be that big? Kevin's son, John, is that it? Okay, I can't tell who's in a... Wow. Nurse is short too. She's 5'1". Oh, wow. John is going to be 6'8". I don't know if that's an advantage. Boys always want to be tall, but then when you get really tall, it's really hard to fit places, and people make you change the batteries and the clocks and stuff. All right. Never been called a giant before. Nice. All right, here we go. This week, I was poking around on podfeed.com, and I noticed a bunch of my tutorials weren't sitting nicely within their categories in the left sidebar. They were listed on their own outside of tutorials. I couldn't for the life of me figure out where I control that. I looked at the pages themselves in WordPress, and they had the right categories listed, so they should have been under tutorials. And I checked my theme settings to make sure I didn't need to do some sort of exclusion of pages nonsense. Sometimes I have to do that. Finally, after about an hour of searching, I remembered that I'm using something simply called menus, which shows up under appearances in WordPress, and I have to specifically remove pages from menus when I create them. I'm telling you all of this because as soon as I unraveled the mystery, I launched Clarify from clarify-it.com, and I documented this darn process. I didn't want to lose all this time ever again when I inevitably forget it. I took a few screenshots, annotated them, showed them myself where to poke, wrote a really descriptive title and put some tags in so any word I search on will find it, and I saved the whole thing to Evernote. Actually, I got to change that. I did the tags in Evernote. I'm telling you all of this. Do that. I'm telling you all of this. I'll start there. I'm telling you all of this. Where is that? There we go. I'm telling you all of this because as soon as I unraveled the mystery, I launched Clarify from clarify-it.com, and I documented the whole darn process. I did not want to lose this time ever again when I inevitably forget how I do it. I took a few screenshots, wrote a really descriptive title so any word I search on will find it, and then I saved the whole thing over to Evernote and put some great tags on it so I will never, ever lose it. And I saved it in my tutorials folder over on Evernote. If you do complicated things on the Mac or Windows and have the memory of a goldfish like me, go over to clarify-it.com and get a free trial of Clarify. Be sure to tell them Allison sent you. Kevin, you haven't bought a copy of Clarify in a long time. It's probably been 6 months since you bought a copy, haven't it? Lindsay, I wonder if you should make you should see whether you need Clarify over at work. I wonder if you guys you should tell the guy at no, that'd be conflict of interest. You could tell the guy over at the IT guy. All right, I'm going to add in some music favorites, jazz, 44 Street Long. There, put it up right there. And then we're going to get some Marianne. And we're going to put her up here. Let's say right there. Every once in a while, my trackpad gets stuck. I think this trackpad might be failing. Like it doesn't click. All right, let's take a look here. Should be about right there. All right. Get ready for symbols check, Steve. Symbols check. Sibilance. Name the show. Be sure to tell them Allison sent you. Too long. Can already tell he's going to say too long. Do you need a force touch trackpad? Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond. And I would like to welcome back to the show and bringing the whole show up to a higher intellect. Symbols still fade too soon, you think? Really? All right, fine. All right. No, that's not too early. Look at that. It looks good to me. Let me see. This should go right there. Yeah, I don't think that's too soon. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Chit Chat Across the Pond. And I would like to welcome back to the show and bringing the whole show up to a higher intellectual level here, Dr. Marianne Gary, professor at the Victoria University of Wellington. How are you today?
I'm great, Allison. How are you?
So you protested that this wasn't across the pond because you're actually in my recording studio.
Yeah, and also by pond, I meant gin and tonic. So where is it?
Well, I'm sorry. It's like 10 in the morning. I just really thought we could wait till noon or something.
It's 10 to 5 somewhere.
There you go. All right. So you actually suggested that there be a little prep before this this presentation, right? This class here we're taking.
Homework is very important. So I'm hoping that people have done their homework because otherwise,
some of this might not make sense.
Some of it might not make sense.
Or it might be spoiled if you tell them about it now. But
yeah, I mean, I still think if they should probably, if they haven't done their homework and they wanted to listen later, maybe stop and go do their homework.
And what
usually
was that
we
homework?
don't allow that. But they're not going to do as well on the test later.
Please don't protest your score on the test.
Yeah,
if you didn't
exactly.
do the
Don't
homework.
come to me and ask for extra credit.
Don't want to hear about it.
I don't want
So
to hear
what was
about
the
it.
extra credit that you assigned? The pre-work you assigned?
The homework I assigned was to watch a couple videos that are put together by a terrific cognitive psychologist named Dan Simons at the University of Illinois. And do you want me to tell?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
okay,
well,
right. Because we have to assume you've done your homework. So now we're going to start talking about it.
Just so people don't feel too bad, it was not assigned in the podcast. By this time, hopefully, I will have tweeted, Facebooked, and Google Plus the crap out of this this idea to go watch these videos to make sure you understand what we're talking about.
I want people to feel bad if they haven't done their homework. That's how I make a living.
At Marianne's wedding, her students stood up and talked about what a taskmaster she was and how she scared them to death. So it's holding up.
It's part of my charm.
All right. So what were the videos you asked them to watch?
Well, the one video that Dan Simons put together is it's come to be known as the gorilla video for obvious reasons if you've seen it. And what happens is you've got two people, two little teams playing a weird basketball game. And it's a weird game because although you have white shirted teams and black shirted teams, each little team plays together on the same area and they have two balls. Each team has a ball. And so what you're supposed to do is count the number of times one of those teams has the ball. And while you're
they're passing it back and forth, but across each other and they're moving in circles.
Yeah. Yeah. So you really got to pay attention. And then later you're asked how many times did they pass the ball? And it's really great because you think that's actually the point, but that's really not the point. The point is to demonstrate this phenomenon known as inattentional blindness. When you're looking at a fixation area, so that's what we call it when your eyes are focused on a particular point, you're looking at a certain point of fixation. And then in the middle of this video, a person dressed in a big gorilla outfit walks through to the center of the stage, turns to the camera, thumps his chest, and walks off. And then later, what typically happens if you haven't seen a video like this is that you're asked, how many ball passes did you count? You give an answer and you're told the answer and okay, are you correct? You're all happy and possibly smug about what a good eyewitness you'd be. And then the next question is, did you see anything unusual? And for people who haven't seen a video like this before, about half the people fail to notice that this gorilla's there. And so when
you know it's there, it is incredibly obvious that, I mean, it's not subtle. It's not quick. The monkey doesn't go behind, the gorilla doesn't go behind the people. The gorilla goes right dead center in the middle of what you're looking at.
Right. So
you don't see it.
Well, yeah.
You don't recognize it.
Right. This video has been around now for about 15 years and it swept across the internet and has become so popular that it's hard to find people now who haven't seen it. But if you haven't,
even the slackers who didn't intentionally do their homework probably have already done their homework.
Yeah, just preemptively, which upsets me, I have to say.
To give them credit.
And I have to decide whether or not they get credit for that. So it's interesting though, because so 50% of people don't notice this gorilla. And then when you say, no, look, watch. And then, so I rewind the video. They see me scroll the video and rewind to the beginning. And then lots of those people who don't notice the gorilla accuse me of doing something. No, it wasn't there the first time. This is doctored or fake. Well, what? I just doctored this in front of you. Like
right in front of you. I flipped tabs in my browser and you didn't notice.
Right. So it's really an interesting phenomenon. So the point is that, and then there was a follow-up video, right? So for people who have seen this gorilla video. Then they get all like, oh yeah, I've seen this. So then the second video you were directed to, because there were two.
And you tested this on me because I had seen the gorilla video.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I saw the gorilla come in.
I did. And you performed brilliantly.
As in failed completely.
Yes, exactly. But to my point of view, that's really good. So
that's what you look for in your students.
It is the demonstration to have the experience. So you approach this video because I know. Okay, what's going to happen? The gorilla, blah. So, but here's the thing. So you're not really counting the basketball passes this time, or maybe you are, but you also notice you have to look out for the gorilla. So now you have these two tasks you're trying to deal with, right? And now,
because you're going to do a half-baked job of the basketball tosses, because you're still going to get asked that question, but you got to watch for the gorilla.
Right. So now you look for the gorilla. And because you're looking for the gorilla, what you fail to notice is that the curtains in the background change color, and you also fail to notice that one of the players just leaves. I mean, it's not like there's 100,000 players on that.
There's only 6 or maybe 8,
whatever, not
that.
a handful of players. So now there's two things happening that you don't notice, and if you look at these two videos, this experience you have side by side, then you see that. Well, first of all, the basic idea is we've taken a surprisingly really tiny amount of the information in the world around us, and we think attention means where we're looking. And attention is not necessarily where we're looking. So
let me stop for just a second, because I forgot to do something at the beginning. If Marianne has been on the show before and she talked about memory and really screwed with our heads, but give your credentials. I said you teach at the Victoria University of Wellington and do research there. Research in what? What is your specialty?
My specialty is memory and how memory distortion. So false memories, faulty eyewitness memory, all that kind of thing. And so what I'm really fascinated by is what I'm talking to you about today is sort of the precursor to all of that. Because
so before we even think it's a memory, did it even get in the first place?
That's exactly right. Because if it doesn't get in your head, you're not going to remember it, right? And so now this is sort of like, I guess when I was here before, I presented part B and this is part A. But part A is, wow, there's very little that gets inside your head of the world around you. You just don't notice it.
Right. So this is a very controlled experiment where there's only two things now trying to grab your attention: the number of passes and looking for the gorilla. But we've missed the fact that somebody walked out and that the curtains change color. But in real life, you're an eyewitness, say, like we talked about before, of an accident. There's like 700 things going on, right?
Right.
And so what did you actually see? You saw a flash of light maybe and thought you saw everything else, but the chances that you absorbed much more than what you were directly concentrating on?
Yeah. I mean, and you can see the application to the kind of this inattentional blindness is what it's called, the gorilla type phenomena, to the kind of work that I do or other people do. So just because you're a witness and you're watching something, like what you said, even if you're staring right at it and it's just the only thing that happens, or you go by something or you walk by something, and to other people after the fact, how could you not have seen that thing?
Would this explain? So several years ago, a giant billboard was erected at the bottom of an off-ramp that Steve and I drive on regularly. And Marianne, how tall is that sign?
It's really, really tall.
I mean, it's a giant.
So you want me to throw Steve under the bus here? And
I do.
You do.
But we could do that. This actually could work. So
for science, throw him under the bus for science.
So it's a giant lit up billboard, and I asked Steve,
it's really bright. It hurts when you look at it.
It's insanely huge. And I asked Steve, I said, "Did you notice that Mark and Brian were on that billboard?" And he said, "What billboard?" Now, Marianne got to experience it for herself the other day, and I think you screamed when you saw it because it was so huge and so bright.
Yeah.
But could it be that his attention, even though he was maybe looking right at that, his attention was, say, what's on something that he was working on at work?
Well, I mean, in fact, that's the point, right? Just because you're looking right at something doesn't mean, because you're looking, I mean, someone might say, well, that's because you had me look at the basketball. Yeah, okay. But it's not like you were in the Thunderdome or something, it was.
There wasn't that much to look at.
Right. There wasn't that much to look at. And probably you looked on a computer monitor, and probably you were able to describe the scene, suggesting that you looked at least around the scene at the edges.
All right, that's enough of Marianne for now. She is so much fun. It's funny. It's not super technical, but these are subjects that everybody can relate to, and we tend to get more comments when she's on than when normal geeks are on. So it's pretty fun. She's also very, very geeky herself. She's really, really into the Mac and stuff. So she just got her Apple Watch and all kinds of fun stuff. Oh, I don't like the way that pasted at all. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, well. No, not oh, well. I'll have to fix that. All right. I am going to, no, I didn't throw you under the bus, really, Steve. I threw you under the bus, but then I pulled you out at the last minute because I said this research that she's worked on explains, or these other people have worked on explains why it's not your fault that you didn't notice a 400-foot tall sign. And yes, Lindsay, I might be exaggerating. It's probably 200 feet, though. Okay. Oh, is it time to stand up? 550? I'm at my, let's see, 737 calories today. How many did you get, Switcher Mark? Brett? All right, Brett's standing too. Actually, mine didn't tell me. I wonder why. I only have 9 stands. Oh, because I have it on Do Not Disturb. That's why, because I'm doing a show. Here we go.
Thanks a lot. It's always fun.
All right. Oh, that's that doubling thing's going to happen again. I have got to figure out how to do that. Stop that.
Always fun.
All right. Thanks a lot. Let's see, cut that. I start right there. Not there. Right there. Well, the live show audience really has been enjoying having Marianne on the show, and we get a lot of great comments when she's on. I know it's not normal tech geek stuff, but this is stuff we can all relate to, and it's really annoying how she ruins everything that we think we know. But that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills, makers of Clarify over at clarify-it.com. Buy it at your company, buy it at your house, buy it everywhere. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions. Haven't had any dumb questions in a while. Need some of those comments and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Podfeet. Check out the NosillaCast Google Plus community. Having lots more fun over there. A lot of stuff was hopping this week, that's for sure. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Johnny came back after having been gone for a really long time, and Dave Ginsburg that we met over at MacStock was in here for the first time. My daughter Ghibli's even stopped by, so that was a lot of fun too. Anyway, to do that, go to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. There you go. Ooh, a 5-mile run this morning. Good job, Brett. Oh, but then you walked In-N-Out Burger for lunch. Yeah, you might have undone that 5-mile run and more. Let's see. Let's put in outro music. I forgot to tell Kevin to cover his ears, but looks like he survived. Let's see. About right there, maybe. See how that sounds. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. How did you, Mark, how did you like Jurassic World? We saw it on Friday. I thought it was hilarious. It was one of the, it almost got to Sharknado territory there towards the end. Oh, Nolan was here too. Oh, yay. Hi, Nolan. Nolan's awesome. They just got back from camping. All right, let's see how this goes. Show number 531. This week's Chit Chat Across the Pond. It's a... All right. Dinosaur stand up. Yeah, it was a little silly. A little silly, I gotta say. All right, join those tracks together. And I think, it was entertaining. I thought it was good. It was fun, but and good to see on the big screen, like Steve says. But because of the big audio, because you want to hear the dinosaur yelling and stuff. Jimmy Fallon has a cameo in it. That's kind of funny. Yeah, Dave thought it was funny too. Yeah. It's not exactly a serious movie. All right, we are sitting at 1 hour and 8 minutes. That's right about where I like it. All right, I am going to share export song to disk, and we are ready to go. And there we go. All right, guys. It was a lot of fun to have you guys here. Thank you for coming. Definitely, boy, hopping fun in there. Even having the wig man in there today, that was great. Switcher Mark, for some reason, figuring out that he could come. That was kind of crazy. But anyway, let's. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Let's see. I think I'll go ahead and stop the Google Hangout on air first. So goodbye, everybody. Goodbye if you're watching on Roku and on Alpha Geek Radio and Alpha Geek Media. Nice to have you guys here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that broadcast. Goodbye.